Before opening the floor for question, I will now turn it to GE Hitachi for their presentation as outlined in CMD M51.1, M51.1A. I understand, Mr. Mason, you will make the presentation. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the Commission, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to introduce my colleagues who join me today. On my left-hand side is Paul Desiri, who's our Manager of Environmental Health and Safety Programs, as well as our Nuclear Regulatory Officer. And on my right-hand side is Mark Ward, who's the Manager of Manufacturing Operations for our fuel facilities. If we look at what we have for our presentation, what I'd like to do for the benefit of those who are not familiar is to just give a very brief overview of our company and our facilities, and then jump in to talk about some of the performance metrics, some of which we've just heard. And then finally talk about the public information program, which we're very proud of what we've worked on in the last year or so. So, turning the page, if we look at our parent organization, the General Electric Company, General Electric is a global company with approximately $150 billion of revenue a year in 140 countries. And you can see a wide range of the products that we manufacture. And, of course, part of that range of products is energy. And we are part of the Power and Water Group. And, of course, we're associated with nuclear energy. The company was founded in 1886 by Thomas Edison, and also here in Canada in 1892 in Peterborough, in fact. And you can imagine with that breadth of products and that long experience that we have developed great expertise in the running of manufacturing operations, and we are able to draw upon that expertise as we strive for excellence in our facilities. So if you'd like to turn the page, Paul. If we look at the history of our nuclear business in Canada, we were, if you like, one of the founding members of the nuclear industry in Canada, and together with AECL and Ontario Hydro, built the first commercial reactor in Rolphton, Ontario. And it was in our Toronto pellet plant that we actually manufactured the pellets for that reactor. And then later, in the early 60s, when the Pickering nuclear power plant was being built, we started to manufacture pellets for that facility, and we still do today, as well as for Darlington. So through the years, we focused on the fueling of reactors, both the manufacture of the fuel, the components in the reactor that hold the fuel, the fueling machines, and the control systems associated with that. And you'll see right at the bottom there, in 2007, a milestone for the business was when GE and Hitachi joined together their nuclear operations in a global alliance. So we benefit from their expertise as well. As far as our managerial organization is concerned, the middle line is basically our operations staff. The lower line is the support staff. And that functional expertise has access to all of the functional expertise within the larger GE organization. Next slide. The facilities, as the CNSC pointed out, our two nuclear facilities are Class 1B facilities, one in Toronto and one in Peterborough. In the Toronto facility, we take in uranium oxide powder and we convert it into hard ceramic pellets, and which are ground into precision dimensions and sent to the Peterborough facility for inserting into the zirconium tubes, which are then formed into the fuel bundles, which are transported to our customer at Pickering and Darlington. Also associated with that in our Peterborough facility, we have our services organization and our engineering operation, where we design and build and assemble equipment for fueling reactors and also for the inspection and maintenance of reactors as well. A nice aerial shot of downtown Peterborough with the the GE industrial campus there. You can see in the larger ellipse is the service operation, where we have our machine shops and assembly shops. And then the smaller ellipse is the fuel assembly operation in Peterborough. Next slide. Here's some photographs of the Toronto operation. As was mentioned earlier, GE built an industrial campus known as the Davenport work area. It started in the 1901, and our plant was built in 1907. And gradually, as was mentioned earlier, the residences have surrounded the operation. In fact, most recently, across the Lansdowne Road, you can see in the bottom right-hand corner the new condominiums which have been built and people started to live in as of 2012. Next page. Jumping into the environmental performance, as was mentioned earlier, it's very difficult to show on a chart, and this is a linear axis chart. So we've actually put in the numerical values in the chart. On the left-hand side for Peterborough air emissions, you can see that our discharge limit is 550 grams per year. In actual fact, because in Peterborough we're dealing only with ceramic pellets, not powder, one would expect it to be very, very low. And you can see the results there, approximately 10 milligrams for the entire year in terms of emissions. On the water side, for the same reasons, very, very low emissions. And if I look at the results there for complete years, it's less than 1 gram, hardly detectable, which is about 1/1,000,000th of the limit. Turning the page to Toronto, and here I think it's important to differentiate in that Toronto we handle powder. That powder is then compressed and sintered into pellets. The powder, for the benefit of the public, is not like talcum powder or that type of thing. It has like a feel of sand, but it's also a very heavy element. And it's not flammable, it's not combustible. We sinter the uranium oxide to 1400 degrees centigrade. And so from that perspective, it's very safe. We're very pleased to note that in 2012, we invested in some state-of-the-art filtration equipment to upgrade our filtration, 2 main filtration units. And you can start to see the results in 2013. For the first 3 quarters, our emissions, as measured in the stacks, is accumulated to 4.4 grams. We estimate by the end of the year we'll have achieved a 50% reduction in our annual air emissions from the Toronto plant. We think we'll be at about 6 grams by the end of the year, which represents about 0.13% of the discharge limit. So we're very pleased with that activity. On the water emissions, again, we have spent a good deal of money over the years gradually implementing state-of-the-art technology for our filtration of the water. We do use water in our manufacturing processes, and all of that water is gradually filtered down to the basement where we have our filtration operations. And you can see there that typically our discharge to the sewer in any given year is less than 1 kilogram, which is about 6/1,000ths of 1 percentage point of the permissible amount. Turning the page and addressing the health and safety aspect from a full body dose perspective, you can see that in Peterborough the dosage is fairly stable. We have a very active Joint Health and Safety Committee and ALARA Committee, but as you can imagine, after doing the same thing for 50 years, we're reaching the point of diminishing returns in terms of improving that. We have made some engineering changes and procedural changes in Toronto, and you can see some effects there. But again, they're well below the limits as was identified by the CNSC staff. On health and safety in Toronto, unfortunately, we had one lost time accident, and that was the first one since October of 2007 when a maintenance employee tripped on one of the skids of maintenance parts that he had. So we take our safety very seriously. Our employees are very enthusiastic and participative, and that's the only way that we can achieve these sorts of results. The next slide goes to the soil sampling, which I must admit we were very, very pleased to do because it does a number of things. The validity of our results had been questioned, and I think that this has done that. It's verified what we've been doing for many, many years, and also it has validated the controls that we have on our air emissions, because it shows that even after almost 60 years of operation, that there's no accumulated effect in the soil of the residential areas around our plant. And we are very pleased with the results, and we will continue to strive for minimizing the emissions from the plant. The next slide, some of the questions we were asked about was emergency preparedness. And in 2012, we did a emergency response exercise in Peterborough with the local emergency response people. We simulated the crash of a truck in downtown Peterborough. And then in this year in Toronto, we did an emergency exercise with the local emergency response teams where an employee was injured, and that employee was contaminated with the natural uranium. And that is a great opportunity for the local emergency response teams to get to know our staff, our facilities, and our procedures. Transportation safety is our containers are specifically designed for the transportation of the material. It's highly regulated both by the CNSC and the Ministry of Transport. And on the slide there you can see some of the issues that we have reported, a wing mirror, reverse into a gate post, that type of thing. We have had no issues as far as transportation is concerned. We have a specific transportation carrier, and we work closely with that firm for that. Just for the benefit of people who have asked, we do not use trains for the transportation of our product, either coming in or going out of the property. Finally, I'd like to talk about the public information improvements. Off and on through our 60 years of operation in Toronto, we have had liaison with local groups. We have certainly complied with the requirements of the CNSC in terms of public information. But with the introduction of new residents in the area, it became very apparent that we were not doing sufficient to inform people of what we did, how we went about it, and that type of thing. So we've put a lot of effort into upgrading our website, an interactive website, and that's under constant review for continuous improvement. We've introduced annual newsletters to residents, both in Peterborough and Toronto. We've had open houses, and I must say probably the most valuable ones has been the tours that we've had in our facilities, both in Peterborough and Toronto. Some of our public meetings have perhaps been a little more interesting. We have a public email and toll-free line, and I'm pleased to say that that for the vast majority of the inquiries, we've been able to respond within 24 hours. And that is our goal, to do that. So we will continue to work on this particular thing for improvement, as we do in every other facet of our business. So if I turn the page. So in conclusion, I think we can say that our safety programs are effective and robust. If they were not, we would not have such a long history of excellence in the operation and compliance operation of our facilities. As I said earlier, I think that the soil tests that have been done not only verify the measurements that we take ourselves, but also confirm that there's been no long-term impact to the environment around our facility. As I said in the previous slide, we're committed to continuing communications and also outreach to the community, and we will definitely continue that effort. The General Electric Company is a world-class company. We are part of that, and it employs the best people, the best practices, and the latest technologies to achieve that excellence. Thank you.
Thank you.